Hello, scholars, and welcome back. It is now week 6 of POL450, Research Methods for Political Science. I hope we all had a successful week 5. And now that we move into week 6, I think we can start seeing, I hope that we all can start seeing the pieces coming together, and the end is near and in sight. So let's look and review what we what we need to complete here in week 6. If we do a quick overview of our agenda, we see that there's a video lecture on content analysis and secondary data. That's going to be the key thing that we're going to look at today, is how can we complement those research questions that we wrote in week 5 with some secondary data, some existing data that we can use. We have a written assignment 6 on secondary data analysis, an application exercise on content analysis. Our big annotated bibliography is due, and our week 6 discussion board. So let's go through these one by one. We'll start with our videos and lectures. The text does not give any information on this week's topic, content analysis and secondary data analysis, so I've posted 2 short videos on these data gathering techniques. The first gives you a good definition on content analysis and the pros and cons of its usage in a study, and the second gives an overview of secondary data and how it differs from primary data. So 2 good videos that you can view, which will give you the necessary information to complete this week's assignments. And now let's go through our various assignments, or let's start with our first assignment. Our written assignment 6 is on data analysis. 25 points possible. 2 important and reliable sources of secondary data, RAND State Statistics and Statistical Abstract of the U.S., are available in the Annie Gabriel Library. I have included a description of what is included in each data set below. Your assignment for this week is to review each of these data repositories and select a data set that you think would provide important and relevant secondary data for your study. Discuss what you found and state why it is important to your topic. You should add this source to your annotated bibliography before it is submitted. So with RAND State Statistics, it presents a detailed historical and current statistical data of the state of California and the U.S. as a whole in categories like population, demographics, health, business, education, environment, economics, crime, labor, energy, and more. Much of the data is available at city, county, and state levels. The second is the Statistical Abstract of the U.S. It's published annually by the U.S. federal government since 1878 and now published by ProQuest. The Statistical Abstract of the U.S. is an authoritative and comprehensive summary of statistics of the social, political, and economic conditions of the United States. So why did I give you these 2 resources, and why do I want you to review these and find data that you could apply? So I want you to figure out how you can use this secondary data set. Now remember, secondary data is not necessarily different data or data that you can't use. It's just data that has already been provided. Instead of you going out there and finding the data, especially utilizing your surveys, you're going to use this data. So I'll give you an example. When we had given earlier in this class the example of the water situation and water conservation in Riverside County. So one of the things that you could use secondary data for is, what is the population in Riverside County? What is the economic status of the people who live in Riverside County? What are the demographics of Riverside County? How many people make it up? How many residents are there? And you can see how that information could be valuable when you start talking about potentially something like water conservation. Is it due to a supply and demand? Is it the population density? Is it that it is a rural area? Is it more of the rural area of Riverside County? Is it a populated part, one of the urban portions of Riverside County? And you can see how that could definitely benefit you. And when I look in a lot of your studies, and for a lot of you during your feedback in week 5, I said that you need to add some sort of demographic questions to your studies. Just that background information that of who are taking your studies, what age group, what type of people are taking your studies. And you can see the benefit of backing that up with the information that you can find in both of these data sets utilizing secondary data. So answer the questions for 15 points and college level writing for 10 additional. So I look forward to seeing this. And as always, Sunday, 11:59. The next assignment that we have here is a additional video on secondary data. The video posted below demonstrates the presentation of secondary data by the late Hans Rolzix. In this presentation, it is presented here for your enjoyment, not as something I expect you to emulate. I will ask you to review it and discuss it in this week's discussion board. For our application exercise this week, once again, that's a quiz. This application exercise is a short quiz on content analysis. There is no time limit on the quiz, but it must be completed once it's open, and you may repeat the quiz for a higher score if you wish. So use some time management, make sure you have adequate time to complete the quiz, and then once you complete it, review it, and you can take it a second time to improve your grade. The next item, and I'm going to come back to this. Let's first go to our discussion board, and we'll finish with our annotated bibliography. So our week 6 discussion board. What was the most interesting information that you found in the video? Did this presentation keep your interest? Was it understandable? So remember, for our discussion boards, it's that college level dialogue between yourself and your colleagues. I want you to do at least a 300-word post of your original content, and then you need to follow up with responses to at least 2 of your classmates to get full credit. 15 points for your contribution to the discussion, and then 10 points for each for the 2 responses. And remember, I'm looking for actual content when it comes to your responses, not I agree with, not good job, not well done. I want you to add to the academic discussion. And now let's jump back up to our annotated bibliography, our big point assignment for this week with our annotated bibliography. 100 points possible. There's a rubric that's associated with it. If we take a quick look at our rubric, we, like in many of your classes here in online and professional studies, we break things down by exemplary, accomplished, developing, and beginning. Each student will prepare an annotated bibliography consisting of a minimum of 15 items. These items should address the topic theory of the research proposal. The annotated bibliography is worth a possible 100 points. Your source choices, you can see that there is a point distribution, your source credibility, your annotations, and the mechanics and formatting. So let me just take a second. We're going to have 15 various sources. They are all going to be cited appropriately using appropriate APA formatting. They'll be alphabetical. The listing should be alphabetical. And after each one of the citations, there should be a paragraph of why this source is going to be applicable to your study. For many of you, you have been collecting these sources from week 1, and you just need to give a brief description of why this source is applicable, what aspect of your study would it be utilized for, what information content inside this study will complement. So remember, 15 sources. I'm looking for appropriate citations for each one of them. There's endless amount of resources out there on the proper formatting when it comes to APA citations. So I would imagine that all of you at this point of your academic career can accomplish that. And then a paragraph, not a sentence. I want a paragraph on each one of the sources and why it is applicable. So you have a substantial assignment, but I hope that for many of you, you've got many of these, and we just need to clean them up, make sure that they're cited appropriately, and make sure there's good content for each one. And once again, this will be due by the end of the week on Sunday at 11:59. So why I wanted to use this last is I was going to go and look at some of the announcements from earlier in this course. And if we were to scroll down and look at the prospectus video, I hope all of you have taken an opportunity to view this video because it gives a complete outline of the research prospectus and the various chapters. There's the prospectus example and the prospectus template. And in our prospectus example, we will be able to look at our chapter 2 and get a good idea of how our annotated bibliography looks with a proper citation and then a brief sentence. I'm looking for more of a paragraph on each one of your citations. And as we go through, we can see that this is exactly what we're looking for your annotated bibliography and how that's going to fit exactly into your second chapter of your prospectus. And hopefully you can understand how all those pieces come together. So if you haven't already, make sure that you look at the prospectus video. But let's get back to our week 6. That I hopefully will give you clarification on what is expected of you here in week 6. The 4 deliverables, written assignment 6, secondary analysis, how are you going to use those 2 secondary sources, the content analysis quiz based upon the videos, a discussion board based upon the secondary data presentation video, and then your annotated bibliography. All those by the end of the week, Sunday at 11:59. So I hope that you have a successful week. Grind through it. I know that week 6 is always a tough week, but there is definitely an end in sight. And remember, we are putting together the major key components of this prospectus this week. Many of the large pieces are going to be put together. We'll get this, and we will be nearing the end of this course. So I will be thinking about you. I'll keep you in my thoughts and prayers. If you have any concerns at all about this week's assignments, please reach out to me. But I can't wait to grade and look over all of your work this week, because I just know that these pieces are the final building blocks that we need to put this together and finally see the evolution of all of your assignments. So I'm really excited. So have a safe week, stay healthy, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye for now.